child. Hope you enjoy it. Hope you enjoy my Asperger live stream. I have to get organised. Have I done this properly? Oh my God. Gladwin and Collins bought the Theatre Royal, Norwich in 1928 after leasing it for 2 years. Jack Gladwin moved to Norwich and became fully occupied with the theatre there. Joe Collins remained on the board of Swindon Entertainments, limited to represent the interests of the Empire Theatre's owners in Swindon, but only for a short period of time. He died in 1931, whereupon his half share in all of the theatres the pair owned jointly passed straight to Jack Gladwin. He became the sole owner of the Empire Theatre, Swindon, and remained as such for the next quarter of a century. Chapter 5. The Celluloid Years. The Empire opened as a cinema managed by Stanley C. Mills, who was also a designated musical director, on 26th of January 1931. Immediately prior to the post in Swindon, he had been manager and musical director at the New Theatre, Cardiff. There was no inaugural celebration for the new picture house at Swindon, but an advertisement that declared, "Go first to the Empire Perfect Talkie Theatre, the voice of action." He went on to mention that this establishment was the only Western electric installation in the area, a piece of brevity that must have been quite meaningless to the general public. In fact, it referred to the New York-based Western Electric Manufacturing Company's Horn Cinema speaker system, which the venue had installed and which was capable of blasting the audience with sound. The first film to be shown there was All Quiet on the Western Front, the 1930 epic war film directed by Louis Milestone from the book of the same name by Eric Maria Remarque. Thereafter, except for pantomimes, concerts, some amateur musicals, an occasional play, and with the single exception of 1937, when the venue reverted to live shows for much of the year, the Empire remained a picture house until 1947. Hello viewers, please sub me for my Asperger live stream practice, I hope. As a cinema, the Empire had strong competition from the outset. All Quiet on the Western Front played at the same time as On Approval, with Tom Walls and Yvonne Arnaud was showing at the nearby Regent, the Rink in Old Town at Maurice Chevalier, and Love Parade. Mary Astor was at the Palace in Gorse Hill in The Runaway Bride. That's been remade. The Arcadia in Regent Street had the Wild Party with Clara Bow, and Lillian Davis was running in Just for a Song at the Palladium in Rodbourne. The Empire began its matinees at 2:30 p.m. and the weekday evening performances played continuously from 6 p.m. There were two separate programs at 6:15 p.m. and 8:40 p.m. on Saturdays and during holidays. At that time, all of the town's cinemas were closed on a Sunday. Swindonians who wanted to experience live professional theatre now had to travel to Bristol or Oxford. Nothing's changed. Otherwise, they might patronise the local amateur groups who occasionally performed at the Empire until the outbreak of the Second World War. These groups included the Swindon Amateur Musical and Dramatic Society, which staged the Student Prince of the Empire in 1931, and the GWR Mechanics Institution Amateur Theatrical Society, which the same year performed Princess Charming. Meanwhile, work had gone on apace to rebuild and refurbish the Mechanics Institute, where the opportunity was taken to upgrade the performance area from a hall with a stage to a properly designed and dedicated theatre that might attract professional companies. It went to much improved stage and a new fly tower. Dressing rooms were added high up in the wings. A new proscenium appeared with Art Deco mouldings, and a racked auditorium was laid out to seat 623 people. The venue opened on 3rd of September 1932 with twice nightly performances of Leon Gordon's adult play White Cargo, which centered on a man's infatuation with a sexy but savage African native girl who turned out to be possessive of him and full of murderous intent. It was not the sort of play that the people of Swindon had been used to, and it marked the Mechanics' Institute's intention to present itself as a major force for live theatre in the town. Swindon Entertainments Limited gave the Empire a strapline, "Where everyone goes." It did not exactly say why they should do so or for what purpose, and was of course quite untrue. Hello viewers, please sub my Asperger live stream. Very occasionally, live performances were presented on stage between programs of films. All for the Empire, the history of Swindon's historic theatre. These included children's Saturday matinee variety performances that featured a yo-yo competition and the appearance of Reverend A.R. Smart, who spoke from the stage during the run of The Man I Killed, which starred Lionel Barrymore and was billed as the film all Swindon is flocking to see. Another production called A Musical Interlude was presented by Reg Thomas and Doris Staniforth for one night in March 1932 when Street Scene was being screened. Stanley C. Mills and his Embassy Broadcast Band, most probably a local ensemble but given an spiritual name, played 3 times a day live on stage during the following week. Thereafter, the Embassy Broadcast Band continued to play daily during the intervals between each cinema house. During the summer of 1932, the theatre experimented with composite cinema and stage offerings. This was called non-stop cinema variety and was billed as a super new type of entertainment. There were a number of reasons for this. Mills clearly saw himself as a musical entertainer, and his tenure of the Empire had come at a difficult time. Many people felt that another cinema in Swindon was unnecessary. Some missed live theatre, others believed that the Empire deserved still to be offering what it had been custom built to provide. It was simply too good a building to be turned into a cinema. The local press were at best ambivalent, waiting on nuances of public opinion, but seemingly happy to pick up any opportunity to refer to the return of regular stage performances, mention the lack of them, and indicate that the matter was really in the hands of the theatre-going public, or in Swindon's case, the apparent lack of a viable audience. During the Cine Variety experiment, there were 2 houses of films daily, except for one day during the run when the film supporting the main feature was dropped and replaced by an hour's worth of live programs based around Mills and his Embassy Broadcast Band. Dolores Costello in the film Expensive Women was sacrificed in favor of vaudeville. 1 hour of music and mirth in which the band were joined on stage by baritone George Taylor, soprano Hilda Bickham, comedian Stan Platt, xylophone player Les Lewis, violinist Ernest Lewis, and the famous Australian male voice quartet. On another occasion, several of the same musicians turned out again in the company of trombonist Alex Dawson, comedian Percy North, and the North Wilts Highland Pipe Band for the Evening Advertiser Variety Hour, in aid of the Poor Kiddies outing. Hope you like this section from All for the Empire, the History of Swindon's Historic Theatre by Roger Taylor, Roger Traherne, and Mark Child. Thank you, viewers. There will be more to come. Please sub me if you liked it.